Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hello everyone and welcome to your English class. In our lesson today, we will continue with our first unit, which is titled, Did You Hurt Yourself? Our lesson today is the form, meaning and function lesson in your books, page 14 and 15. All you need for the lesson today is your books, page 14 and 15, a sheet of paper and a pen to take down your notes. So let's get started. From the yesterday's lesson, which was the form, meaning and function, the first part, we had this homework exercise. It was exercise P in your books, page 85. Complete the conversation, use the adverb forms of the adjectives in parentheses. So it's an adjective, you will change it into an adverb. So here we're having a conversation between Bob and his mom. Each one in the between brackets in here is actually an adjective, and you will come up with the adverb form from these. Mom, how was your first driving lesson? Bob, it didn't start good. What is the adverb from good? It is actually irregular, so we will say start well, because I fell on the way to the driving school. I hurt my arm bad. Regular, so badly, bad, badly. And I arrived there late. Late is actually an irregular, so we will say late. Late is an adjective and an adverb as well. Mom, did you miss the lesson? Bob, yes, I missed my appointment. But I waited patient. I was patient and I waited patiently for my instructor who was out on another lesson. Lucky, I was lucky, and luckily he had time to give me a lesson after that. Let's continue the conversation. The mom, so did you have a good lesson? Bob, oh yes, I spent an hour driving. Of course, I didn't go fast. A fast driver and drive fast, the same adjective and adverb. And I listened careful. I was careful and I listened carefully, ly, to the instructor. He explained everything clear. We're having clearly how to control the car. Then I drove it in a safe way, safely, back to the school. Mom, what must you do now? Bob, I must try. We're having hard. I try hard, hard. Irregular, the same adjective and the adverb, to learn the rules of the road. Then I am sure I will pass the test easy, in an easy way, so easily. So usually an adjective, we will add ly to it, so we will have an adverb. However, sometimes like good will be well, late, hard will be the same. Okay, for our lesson today, by the end of today's lesson, you will be able to use the prepositions of place correctly. What are the prepositions and propositions of place? Use imperatives to give directions. And so we're having the prepositions of place and also the imperatives. So let's get started in here. Back to our driving instructor. He's going to tell us about some of the rules in here. I am your driving teacher or instructor, and I am here to help you get your license. You should drive carefully and shouldn't drive fast. Also, you must fasten your seat belt. You mustn't drive through the red light. Always make sure you drive slowly, especially when you drive through towns. If you need to check the route, pull over and ask or check. And have a safe drive. Here he gave us here some instructions or using the imperative and the prepositions of place. So here, let's look into this map. The first thing when you are having a map, the first thing you will do is to study the map itself. How are you going to study it? Read the names of the street, the roads, the buildings and the stores that we've got in here. So we're having here a grocery store, a high school, library, we're having Pine Street, and we're having First Avenue. The car is actually in here. You can check it next to the barber's shop. So we're having here a phone call between two. Someone is saying, I am on Pine Street. Then we'll have a reply, which side of Pine Street? Because we're having a right and left, north and south. Then he will say, next to the library or the barber's shop. So he is somewhere in here. He is somewhere in here, next to the library. Which library? I don't know where the library is. So he will say, next to the hospital. Notice, the library is next to the hospital. Which hospital? I have no idea which hospital you're talking about. That between the library and the barber's shop. So it is here in the middle between these. Now I got to know, is it near the shopping center? So we're speaking about the shopping center, which is this one in here. Is it near the shopping center? He will say, it's across from the shopping center. It means face to face, opposite to it. So, okay then, go straight ahead on Pine Street. You're going to go straight ahead on Pine Street. Then turn right into 2nd Avenue. Here, turn right into 2nd Avenue. The cafe is on your left. Here is the cafe if you want to get to the cafe. So, we have spoken about here how to give instructions or giving directions. You will use the imperatives. Now, if we're going to speak about this map, we will say that the school and the park, we can say that the park is across from the school. Notice, we're having here a street in the middle, and they are across from. The park is across from the school. It means face to it, across from. Next, what do we have here? We're having a post office, a bank, and a cafe. What can we tell about these? Where is the bank? The bank is somewhere in the middle. We're having a right and a left. So the bank is between the post office and the cafe. So it is somewhere in the middle. We're having something on the right and something on the left. Between, in the middle. Next, we're having here two stores, the pharmacy and the library. Where are they from each other? We can say that the pharmacy is next to the library. Notice, we're having here one side by side next to the library. Then we're having the bus stop. Where is the bus stop? It is in here. So the bus stop is on the corner. And how about the hotel and the museum in here? The museum is actually near. It's not across from and not next to. Very close. You can walk from here to there. So it is near the hotel. Something that is close to it. Now let's go into this map. Your book's on page 15. The first thing you will do is to study the map. Take a minute to study the whole thing. We're having here a crossing, we're having a bank, a police station, shoe store, and we're having many others. The bank and the post office. Where is the bank? Here is the bank. And where is let's say, the post office? It is somewhere in here. So which one are you going to use? Are we going to use in front, let's say, on? Is it on or next to? It is actually across from. It means opposite. You can see it from there. We're having a tree in the middle there. So it is across from. The post office is across from the bank, or the bank is across from the post office. Now the pharmacy is the post office and the movie theater. So speaking about in here, the pharmacy or the drugstore, it's in here, and we're having a movie theater and also a post office. Where is it? According to the map, it's somewhere in the middle. So we will use between. It's between the post office and the movie theater, the cinema. Then the hospital and 2nd Street. here is, we're having this is the hospital, and we're having this is 2nd Street, so it is actually on. It is on 2nd Street. How about the police station and the bank? Here is the police station, and here is the bank. Where is it? It's actually next to, side by side. You can say that the police station is next to the bank, and it's also next to the shoe store. How about the train station and the restaurant? Where is the train station? Here is the train station, and here is the restaurant. Is it far away from there? It is actually near it. You can walk from here to there. Next, the train station is the police station. Here we have the train station. This is the train station, and there we're having the police station all the way in here. So what can we say? We can say that it is far from. Not very close. Maybe you need a bus or you need a car. You can't walk from here to there. Far from the police station. Even the hospital and the library, they are far from each other. So in here, far from the hospital and the library far from each other. The first thing you will do is just to study the map, and things are going to be easy for you. Also, speaking about the prepositions of place, if you still remember the prepositions of time, we have spoken about the in, on, and at. Also, in, on, and at, we can use them for the prepositions of place. Speak about them when we are speaking about the place. When you are using in, you are speaking about a big chunk of time. However, for place, we can use it for a country, a city, or a neighborhood. I live in Riyadh. I live in Saudi Arabia. Or your neighborhood, in this neighborhood. So big, use in. What do we have smaller? Smaller than a city, a country, and a neighborhood, we're having a street or an avenue. I live, or let's say my school is on Pine Street or 2nd Avenue. Any street or avenue you will use on. Smaller than a city. What do we have smaller than a street or avenue? We're having an address or a location. So where is your school? You will say my school is at the crossing of this or that. Very specific. I have a very specific time, a very specific location. So at this specific location. So for something that is general or big, let's say country or a city, in, then we're having on, we're having the roads, then streets and avenues and roads, and we're having at, which is smaller, which is the exact address. Okay, let's try to do this. Here we're speaking about use the correct preposition of place, whether in, on, or at. We're speaking actually about Al-Faisaliya Tower in here. Al-Faisaliya Tower is Saudi Arabia. Where? Saudi Arabia, it's actually a country. Is it in, on, or at? In the big one, on, or at? So we will say it's actually in Saudi Arabia. What about Riyadh? It is Riyadh, a city, in Riyadh as well. The tower is King Fahd Road. So we're having smaller than a city. So we will say it's actually on King Fahd Road. The exact location that we've got here, the skyscraper is 12212 King Fahd Road. This exact location we will use at. So for a country or a city, you will use in, smaller, on, and the exact location you will use at. How about another monument in here? Use the correct preposition as well of place, whether in, let's say for the big one, on, or at. We're speaking about King Abdulaziz Center for World Culture is Saudi Arabia, a country, in, on, or at. It's actually in Saudi Arabia because that's the name of a country. Then speaking about Dhahran, Dhahran is actually a city. So it is in Dhahran. The center is ring road. Smaller than a city or a country, we're having a road and street. So it is actually on the ring road. And it is 8386 ring road. It is actually at this exact location. Try to practice these, the in, on, and at. Back to our driving instructor. He will tell us about some of the rules and the laws of driving. He will say, always make sure that you drive slowly, especially when you drive through towns. And also, if you need to check the route, pull over and ask or check. Here's he's trying to tell me what to do and what not to do. Usually instructors and teachers, when they are trying to give you directions, or sometimes when they are trying to tell you what to do, we are using the imperatives. Let's try to read these road signs. The first one, as it is apparent, it's actually saying stop. Stop and don't move. How about the second one? What do we have in here? It means don't park. Not park, don't. Don't do this action. Then, next what do we have? We're having an arrow and only. So turn right. Only turn right. And the last one in here, what does it mean? Anything in red, it means don't. You are not allowed, don't enter. What do you think about the form that we are using here? We are actually using the imperative. What do we mean by imperative? When I tell you do or don't do it. This is the idea of imperative. Have you noticed here that in the imperative we are using stop, also we're having park, we're having right, and also enter. When we are using these, we are using only the base form of the verb, which is the present tense. Park, don't park, stop, don't stop, and this. This is the idea of imperative when I'm telling you do it or don't do it. In your books, we're having the imperatives for directions. On page 15, we're having the first one in here. What is the meaning of this imperative? What is the imperative verb that we can use? It will be take a left or turn left. Notice we're having take and also turn. Take and turn. And the side is actually left. How about the second one in here? The opposite, not left, we're speaking about the right. So take a right, turn right. Notice we're using take, do, and turn, do. The following in here, what do we have? Not right and not left, it is to go straight. Do, go straight. So this it is. When you are using imperatives, you will use the base form of the verb go, take, or turn. Now in your books, page 15, in here, exercise C, complete the conversation with the correct prepositions or imperatives. Prepositions, whether they are in, on, or at, whether you will use across, from, between, and the others, or you will use the imperative do or don't do it. We're having the first conversation here. Excuse me, where is the post office? So he will say go and left. He will say go straight, then we're having left. When you are going straight, then you will take or turn left at the end of this street into Main Street. Then the post office is next the bookstore. Next. So it is actually next to the bookstore across the bank. It's actually across from the bank. We have used here the prepositions. We have from, to, and the imperatives turn left. The imperative, which is turn left. The following in here. So what do you see in here? What's to see in your city? The other one will answer, why don't you visit the National Museum? it is second street. When you are speaking about something that is second street, it's actually on second street. On second street. You can take the bus. The bus stop is the corner. Is actually on the corner. So we're speaking about the on, which is the preposition of place. For streets, you will use on. That's great. That's a great idea. And thanks. We have used the prepositions of place on. The following. Excuse me, can you tell me where the accounts department is? Sure. Straight down the corridor or the hall. So with straight, we will use the imperative. Go straight down the corridor and take the elevator to the 3rd floor. The accounts department is the 3rd floor. Levels, it will be on the 3rd floor. When you come out of the elevator, right, so is it go? It's actually take. Take a right or turn right. It is at the end of the corridor to the cafeteria. Next to the cafeteria. We will use next because it's clear from the word, from the preposition to. So what have we used in here? The imperatives go straight, take a right, and we have used here actually the preposition on the 3rd floor and next to the cafeteria. Okay? Now let's go into your books on page 86, and here exercise Q. At the beginning, look at the map, complete the sentences, use across from, between, or next to. So very specific. I want you to use these 3 prepositions of place. You will use whether next to, between, or across from. The first thing that we will do, you will take some time to study the map. We're having actually the Broadway, Main Avenue, Franklin Street, and Park Avenue. Subway station, health club, supermarket, a convenience store. Then we have a mall, restaurant, bank. We're having hotel and a museum, a pharmacy, park, and a bookstore. Take some time, give yourself some time to study the map before you go into the exercise. Now let's ask a question. The subway station is the health club. Where is the subway station? Here it is. And where is the health club? Here is the health club. Where are they from each other? We're having a street in the middle. Here is one and there is the other. However, they are not next to each other. We're having Broadway Street in the middle. So it is actually across from, face to face. However, we're having a street in the middle. Then the health club is the supermarket. Here they are. Here's the supermarket and the health club. They are side by side, no street in the middle. So we will say it's actually next to the supermarket. How about the bank? Here is the bank. We're having the restaurant and the hotel. So it is somewhere in the middle. So we will use between. It is between, it means in the middle. Somewhere in the middle between this and that. And we can say that the restaurant is next to the bank and the bank is also next to the hotel. They are next to each other. The same map in here. Now, exercise R, look at the map and answer the questions. Make 2 sentences for each. Use on, near, or far from. We have already studied this map. Where is the museum? Where is the museum? Let's highlight it. It is somewhere in here. We can actually use on, near, or far from. So I can say that the museum is across from the hotel. It is somewhere in here, across from. And it is also, it is between the subway station and the pharmacy. It is, yes, between the subway station and also the pharmacy in here, somewhere in the middle between them. It is actually near the hotel. It is actually near the health club and far from the mall. You can write it this way. How about the following? Another question. Where is the restaurant? Let's speak about the restaurant in here. Where is it? The restaurant is actually next to the bank. Here it is, next to the bank. What else? Also, we can say that it is across from the mall. Here it is, across from the mall. You can say that it is far from the subway station. It is near the convenience store. And also, it is on Franklin Street. The following, where is the park? Here is the park. Where is it? We can say that it is between the pharmacy and the bookstore, between these two. It is also, the park is across from the bank. Here it is, across from the bank, on Park Avenue, near the mall, and also far from the subway station or the supermarket. Now we look at the map again and complete the conversation using the propositions or imperatives. So, where is the mall? Is it far? We're having, is it actually far from here? No, it isn't. It is actually the park. We're speaking here actually about the mall in here. It is actually near the park, very close to the park. Go, now I am at the pharmacy. So, go straight on the Park Avenue to the next corner. Then, take a left at the restaurant. The mall is the restaurant. Where is the mall from the restaurant? Across from the restaurant. It is the convenience store and the bookstore. It's actually between them. The bookstore and the convenience store. For your homework, refer to page 86 in your books for the rest of the exercise that we've got in there. Okay, I guess that is it for the lesson today, and thank you so much for your time.